can, yes, yes, we can record our presentations. So I have shared my, can you see my presentation area? Hmm, just a minute, maybe we can try this one. Yes, can you see our presentation now? Can you see? Okay. So, in our presentations, we have the main theme of the symposium, and it was all about. Uh, yes, you can share your presentation, Sayit Ahmed Dar. Yes, we can have your presentation. So, now I can listen you. Yes, we can listen you. Yes, we are listening you. Uh, we can't hear you now.
Hello?
Hello. Yes, now we can hear you. You can show your
Just give me
presentation.
1 minute.
Yes, we are seeing your. Yes, yes, we are seeing and listening.
Assalamu
Assalamu
alaikum,
alaikum.
everyone. My
My
name
name
is
is
Shahid
Shahid
Ahmed,
Ahmed
and
and
I'm
I'm
a
a
postdoc
postdoc
fellow
fellow
at
at
IIT Srinagar,
Srinagar,
India.
India.
Hello,
Hello,
is
is
my
my
presentation
presentation
visible?
visible?
So,
So
my
my
research
research
is understanding
understanding
the
the
source
source
contribution of
contribution of
microplastics
microplastics
in the
in the
glacier
glacier
environments
environments
of
of
northwestern
northwestern
Himalayas.
Himalayas.
Microplastics
Microplastics
are
are
the
the
plastic
plastic
Shadid,
particles
less
less
Shadid,
than
than
5
5
millimeters
millimeter
in
in
size.
size.
Shadid.
They
They
are
are
the
the
emerging
emerging
contaminants
Hello,
contaminants
of
of
nature
nature
concern.
concern.
hello.
And
And
as we
as we
know
know
that
that
plastic
plastic
Shadid,
pollution
pollution
has
has
gained
gained
significant
significant
attention
attention
globally,
globally,
with
Shadid,
with
large
large
number
Shadid.
of
number of
studies
studies
documenting
documenting
their
their
impacts
impacts
on
on
the
the
marine
marine
ecosystem.
ecosystems.
However, the
However, the
high
high
altitude
altitude
ecosystems
ecosystems
have
have
largely
largely
received less attention.
Shadid,
This
can you
is
hear
the
me?
Hindukush
Hello,
Himalayan region,
hello.
also known as the water tower and third pole of Asia. This
Hello,
region contains the largest concentration of glaciers outside the polar areas and is the source of 10 major river basins. The region is home to four global biodiversity hotspots and provides livelihoods to more than 1.8 billion population of the world. So as we know that the Himalayan region is already made fragile by climate change, the influx of microplastics to the region can have additional impacts, potentially impacting one-fourth of the humanity. So keeping in with the research gaps and the importance of the region, our study was aimed at assessing the occurrence and abundance of microplastics in the glaciers of the Himalayas with a focus on understanding their sources and environmental implications. This is the study area map which shows the northwestern part of the Himalayas. And to have a holistic understanding of the microplastic pollution in the Himalayas, We sampled a range of ecosystems, including glaciers, depicted by these yellow circles, and below circles represent the associated glacier meltwater streams and alpine lakes that were sampled. In addition, we also collected microplastic samples from the atmosphere, depicted by these pink circles. We also sampled major alpine lakes in the Himalayas. This figure shows the 10 major alpine lakes that were sampled using a four-person mariner boat, and yellow stars represent the locations from where the samples were collected. Sampling the Himalayan ecosystems presented significant challenges. And as we know that the harsh climate, heavy rains, and tough terrains all were significant and difficult and presented significant challenges during the study. So the analysis of microplastics was carried following standard procedures, and right from sampling to final characterization, strict quality assurance and quality control measures were followed. The water samples and the glacier ice and snow samples were collected from different places in glass bottles, and the analysis or the isolation of the microplastics was carried in a laminar flow. After that, the isolated microplastics were characterized using Raman spectroscopy and scanning electron microscopy. On the left side of this figure, you can see the air sampler that was installed, set up at one of the glacier valleys in the Himalayas for collection of the suspended microplastics. And below you see the dry deposition sampling arrangement in the high altitude Himalayas. And for tracking the sources of these atmospheric microplastics, we used the high split model that has been widely used to track the atmospheric sources of air masses and microplastics. Coming to the results, our analysis revealed that microplastics are widespread in the Himalayas, be it the glaciers, lakes, and the meltwater streams. So the microplastics in the air were present at rate concentrations of 5 particles in the suspended air, and it ranged from 1 to 13 in the dry deposition samples. And the high split trajectory model indicated that approximately 75% of the air masses traveling to the Himalayan glaciers are basically generating in the western countries like the Mediterranean Ocean, North Atlantic, and the North Africa. And 16% are the regional sources and 8% local sources. These are some of the representative figures of the microplastics isolated from the glacier masses. So fibers were the dominant shapes of the microplastics, followed by the fragments. And the microplastics they were colored, and this has important implication for the glacier melting in the region. Scanning electron microscopy revealed that microplastics are of various shapes like fibrous, smooth, irregular, fragmented, and here you could see the signs of erosion in the microplastics, and cracks were also observed. And while the EDS resulted in the abundance of the carbon and oxygen as the predominant elements in the microplastics, besides the presence of trace and heavy metals. So these are the local sources of pollution to the Himalayas, the tourists enjoying the snow, glaciers, and besides the camping, trekking activities. So all these led to the disposal of different plastics and trashes in the Himalayan ecosystems. As there has been loud calls for the protection of the Himalayas. However, the tourism sector is largely unregulated in the Himalayas, and there has been almost 55 million tourist influx to the region on an annual basis. So for the policy recommendations are that for the sustainability of the Himalayan ecosystems, reducing plastic waste, promoting ecotourism policies, and supporting cleanup initiatives are essential. Besides spreading awareness and education among the common masses, we have conducted several workshops in the Himalayan ecosystems where the local people and these tourists were made aware of the potential impacts of these plastic trashes. So the conclusion of the study is that microplastics are widespread in the Himalayas. Sources of microplastics include both local and atmospheric sources, and the presence of the microplastics in the region has potential implications for the glacier melting and downstream ecosystems. Uh, Future research therefore needs to investigate role of microplastics in the glacier melting and their impacts on the biodiversity and water quality. Thank you.
Yes, thank you
Yes,
for
thank
your
you.
presentation. And yes, can you see me?
Yes,
Yes,
This
thank you.
course
Uh-huh.
in
Yes,
need
Yeah,
yes,
I have one
yes,
question.
but we haven't any time,
Do
so
you think that
thank you everybody. We didn't have any time.